see everybody now.
Yeah.
Is it snowing there?
No, it's not.
No.
Thank goodness. No.
It's snowing here. And then we rolled into Buffalo and it's snowing. I'm like, is this? I feel like that's normal. I feel like that's normal Buffalo weather.
We are good to go, Tracy.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Bethlehem for our monthly meeting, January 23rd, 2025, here at 5 o'clock. I guess, Heather, do you want to just like state who's in the room and who's online?
I'm sorry, what?
Do we need to do like who's in the room and who's online?
Yeah, I'll note that in the minutes. I mean, we usually don't
Oh,
do
okay.
a roll call.
Who's
Okay.
is everybody
Okay.
here? How many are online though? That's why.
Allie McDaniel and Tracy Oskovich are both online. Ron couldn't join us today, so he's going to be absent.
Okay.
Who was that?
Ron
Was that
Ron is out.
Ron?
is
Okay.
absent.
Okay. Okay, so first thing on the agenda today, we have minutes. We have minutes from the regular meeting, September 26, 2024, and we have minutes from the special meeting, December 27, 2024. Do we have a motion to accept and approve the minutes? Do we want to do them together?
So moved. Do them together.
Thank you, Chris.
All four of them.
I need a second then.
Oh, top. I'm sorry.
Second. Thank you, Allie. Any questions, comments, feedback, edits? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, the minutes pass. The next thing we have is cash reports for the months of September, October, November, December 2024. I'd like a motion to take these all together as well.
Motion to approve all four.
Thank you, Chris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tracy. Any questions, comments? Right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. I believe courtesy the floor is next. Do we have anybody from the public in the room or
Nobody.
nobody? Great. Anybody from the board have a courtesy the floor item? Okay. Next thing, executive director's report. So Sean, I believe it's your floor now.
Thank you. So kind of as our beginning of the year meetings, our first meeting of the year, wanted to do a bit of a, and hopefully Allie and Tracy, you can see the screen here, this presentation, yes?
Yes. Yep.
So this won't take long, made it very succinctly. It's only a couple slides here, but just wanted to run through a recap of 2024 activities, accomplishments of the RDA, and then quickly where we're looking ahead for 2025. So that picture there on the left is obviously our coveted 401, 405 East 4th Street property, which we were having sources of funding going into in order to rehab and turn into affordable housing. So a lot of the conversation toward the end of last year was as to the RDA's owned assets, whether that's just assets or assets that are developable properties. So these are the RDA owned assets, things we traditionally think of as the Levitt Pavilion down on the Steel Stacks site, as well as the Hoover Mason Trestle. And then we have assorted parcels up here adjacent to Main Street, which I'm sure a lot of you historically have a bit more knowledge and experience with maybe than certainly I would. But obviously one of those parcels that was removed was in the sale in the Hotel Bethlehem of the parking locations. So let's just give you a picture of those owned assets on South Side and the North Side. And these are our two blight projects, which we talk about often, which is 401, 405 East 4th Street, and then 723 Broadway. There's been significant progress on those two properties, both prior to my arrival and then in the subsequent 9-10 months here. Wanted to share a bit about those properties. So these are blighted properties, blight certified properties. The picture again on the left is 723 Broadway. This was blight remediation program grant funds that were used to renovate this project, home funds that were associated for soft costs associated with the property renovation. The RDA partnered with Community Action Lehigh Valley, and we're looking for an agreement of sale for them to purchase the property for the RDA to then lease out to possible tenants, possible a good family that can really take that property since it has been refurbished. And then we have our 401, 403, and 405 East 4th Street. That is we used eminent domain, the RDA, to use to acquire that property. The RDA gained possession of the property in November of 2023. I think you're well aware of that process. And subsequent to that, kind of in flux right now, we have received FAIR funding, LSA funding, and Keystone Communities funding into the rehab of this commercial residential mixed-use project. We've also applied but have not yet heard as to CRFP grant funds. We requested $1 million into that project. That was done, Heather, I think probably a couple months ago at this point that was submitted.
Yeah, the beginning of November.
And then EPA financing was requested as well. So as we continue to add to the stack for this project, we'll certainly, it'll rise to the attention of the board. This is 723 Broadway. These are some photos of the finished property after the work that was done by Community Action. I had an opportunity to tour it with some city staff probably around the summertime, and it's really, I think, a great testament to the partnership that we have with CACLV and the work that they've done. First floor, kitchen, living room, and then honestly, I was surprised as you went up on successive floors just how much space really was made accessible. And then if you'll recall, and there's a request of the board to reaffirm this vote for architectural services that we had requested for 401, 405 East 4th Street. I wanted to share some of the sketches that came out of that engagement with that architect. So this is, again, that mixed-use property, commercial, residential at 401, 405. This is the first floor sketch here. On the left is the restaurant, which is still a vacant restaurant, and is conceptualized as continuing as such. And then there is the 811 square foot office space to the right there that's in the purple pinkish color. As you move up the building, this is the second floor sketch. The architect we worked with really talked with us about the best arrangement of units in that space to make them, again, affordable, but also not feeling as cramped for those who would occupy the space. So on this floor, we have two 3 bedrooms, one 1 bedroom and 1 2 bedroom in the back there, ranging from 739 square feet to the largest, the 2 bedroom at 969 square feet. And then obviously we're keeping that kind of architectural piece on that property, which is the turret you see there in the corner.
Now I'm at a meeting.
This is the third floor sketch. Really, again, kind of taking the space, and the architect wanted to turn it into something that would, again, not make it as cramped, but have accessibility by potential tenants. So you see the 1 3 bedroom, and then 2 3 bedroom units up on that third floor, and then a common space there in the back portion. So I wanted to just very quickly do a run through of 2024 kind of RDA actions and progress. Obviously, before my time, it was January. We had conduit financing that was done for Moravian University. As you're well aware, we've had 5 Sun-In Courtyard use permit authorizations by the board for the various festivals and events occurring at that space. RDA is part owner of the parcel up there. Hoover Mason Trestle, continued maintenance. We had the transition from the volunteer group that was maintaining the garden up there to the company that is assisting us with that maintenance. And certainly as we move forward in the next few months, we'll hope to give you kind of progress as we think about the next year of that maintenance. You approved the 2022-2023 audit, reviewed that and approved that audit. And then obviously we did a auditor change for this upcoming auditor or auditing period. And then just kind of miscellaneous execution of various other agreements, such as regular CDBG agreement for blight funding. And then, as I mentioned before, the sale of the Hotel Bethlehem property. So kind of tied to the conversation we had at our special meeting in December. It's the last slide here, but wanted to talk about looking forward. And I know there's a lot of questions about kind of the current operation, the future operation of the RDA. So a few points here. I know a big thing was that for the board, providing you with a kind of very simple, understandable sense of the recurring expenses month to month. Obviously, we know that Hoover Mason Trestle maintenance insurance is a large cost, but we want you to be able to see that as well. And then review the assets we've talked about. I think on the second and third slide, we want to have ongoing conversations, and I promise that to you. Conversations, review meetings with the city. We actually just had one, kind of a spontaneous one, earlier today. With Eric Evans with the city. His intent is actually to come to our next meeting of the RDA board to talk about the history and really dig into the finances from the city's perspective, and also reviewing that city RDA agreement. I think that was something that was brought to our attention at the last special meeting. I think really, in my tenure, there's been a lot of opportunities. I think there will continue to be opportunities for strategic planning through trainings and webinars through the Housing Alliance of PA, PARA, which is the Pennsylvania Association of Housing and Redevelopment Association. Something that Allentown and Easton are considering. I was just over in Allentown today, where they mentioned that their RDA was pursuing the idea of a land bank. So I think that's something that might be worthwhile to, you can have a land bank that is not an RDA, and you can have RDAs that operate as land banks. So I think that's a consideration as we look to future planning and knowing that our sister cities are pursuing that endeavor. And then you'll see there on the picture on the right, that was the, I think I'd mentioned in a prior board meeting, this was the FDIC banking tour that we had a bunch of banks. It was organized by the Community Development Bureau here. A lot of regional banks that came in to tour the city. I believe the first stop on the tour, the second stop was 401, 405 East 4th Street. A lot of interest in that property. Obviously, as you know, these banks have a requirement that a portion of their funding every year is contributed to community projects. So our hope is to kind of continue that conversation. Grant and financing opportunities. I think in the next few months, we may hear another opportunity for conduit, the RDA acting as a tool for conduit and financing. We're going to continue to try and strive, Heather and I, to try and get as much affordable housing blight project support to continue to add to the stack, namely at 401, 405. But something I've told you I want to get back to is the RDA doing the job of the RDA, of RDAs, which is being able to acquire properties, dilapidated properties, refurbish them, put them into circulation. And then kind of, I think, tied to a few of the items listed above, our continued partnership with ArtsQuest. Obviously, they're a big tenant down there on the site, use of the Levitt Pavilion, and I think there's some opportunities moving forward, and obviously the visitor center as well. So very, very brief overview, but I just thought it was important to touch on things in 24, where Heather and I think, are looking ahead for the next year, knowing we have a lot of questions as to where the RDA finds itself in January of 2025. So thank you again for your kind of thoughtfulness. I'm new, but I think having Heather's experience and perspective, I think positions us well for the next year and us collaborating. So thank you. Any questions?
Thanks, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that. It's very thorough, and I think really good too, especially with Allie being new on the board. So I really appreciate that.
Sure.
Does anybody have any questions for Sean? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
No.
There are no questions.
Sorry, I just can't see faces, so I wasn't quite sure if I just couldn't hear folks or if anybody had any questions.
No
All
questions.
right, well, thanks, Eric. Look forward to this year and all the good stuff that you outlined that we're going to hope to accomplish. So the next item on the agenda is reaffirming our email votes. We'll take these one at a time. So we have to reaffirm email vote for the use permit for Christmas City Village from October 28th 2024 through January 3rd, 2024. So I'll take a motion for that use permit.
So moved.
I believe I heard Chris. Is that right?
Correct.
That's correct.
Right.
Awesome. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Awesome. Thank you. I believe that was Tracy.
It is.
All those in, oh, sorry. Any questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that vote is reaffirmed. We have a cooperative agreement for the Steelworkers Veterans Memorial local share account funds that we applied for the project. So again, reaffirming a vote here. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. Any a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tracy. Any questions?
Tracy, I'll just add just very quickly,
Okay.
as to this project, we've actually been meeting with the Steelworkers Veterans Memorial Association. I met with them today in a regularly scheduled meeting that they have. This project is moving forward. It's out to bid. This is the expansion of that memorial. Our hope is to get it constructed in place for next Veterans Day. But I think a really proactive group and excited to get the work going.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. The next item we have is the architecture services. Reaffirming that email vote. That was for the property that Eric just went over in that recap that he did for the 401, 403, and then 405 East 4th Street. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All email votes have been reaffirmed. Thank you. The next item we have is Blighted Property Review Committee. So we've been asked to select a board member to represent the RDA on the Blighted Property Review Committee. The candidate will replace our prior representative, who's no longer a board member of ours. So this committee evaluates properties to determine their condition and see if it meets the criteria to be certified as naked or blighted. All the properties require RDA involvement once they become, certified. So this is why we have a seat on that board. So their meetings are 4 p.m. on the third Tuesday of each month, but they only meet when they have properties identified for evaluation. So do we have a board member that would like to sit on this committee? Yeah, anybody? Do we have anybody that absolutely does not want to sit on the committee?
That would be me.
That was a no from Chris.
Okay. Chris, you got to speak up, man. I can hear you. I can see like a little bitty picture of you. Tracy, is it, or Allie, is this something that either of you are interested in doing
I am
and
not.
have the time?
I'm not.
My concern is a time commitment from
Okay.
Ally. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to do that.
Okay.
In all honesty, I'll tell you, during 2024, we did not meet at all. It is something that we might meet maybe 3 to 4 times a year. We just asked that time be held, that if we're going to have a meeting, that's the day we're going to have the meeting. They do cancel them fairly often. And typically there's at least a 2-month leeway. For example, all properties need to go to planning commission first. Once they certify it, they can't come to us until 60 days later. So there is notification ahead of time. It's not a last minute type of meeting schedule.
Well, if Tracy and Allie, you're pretty opposed, I might be able to make this work. but I don't know, I mean, would you all be okay if
I'll
I
do
was
it
the
before you,
representative?
Because you have trouble getting away. But I'm wondering about Ron. Did we ask it? We didn't really talk about this ahead of time.
We didn't.
About, oh, you did talk to Ron?
No.
Oh,
Did
I
not
don't know
talk to
what
him.
his schedule
I mean, we can
is.
we can do it next month if you want to wait on
There's
it.
no urgency on
No,
it.
it
Yeah.
was just the time when we were all going to be together. It was
Right,
and
right, right,
are
right, right.
fully membered. We have all our members, so yeah, we can postpone it.
I would just say we check with him first. Okay. And if it's that rare, I mean, as the last resort, I would do it, but
Okay.
I don't
It's
wanna
not
commit
really-
myself to stuff. I know,
Yeah, in
that's
all
good to know
honesty,
what you
it is.
said.
It's not often.
It
at
hasn't
all.
met since I started in the
No.
role. Yeah.
We and because some of what happens is it's the properties that come that become the trouble childs for the city come to us, but they really try all the avenues first, and we also have to be aware of how many more properties we take on because we have ones we're still working through. So we don't
Right.
want to get overburdened with
with
taking
that.
on ones that we're not going to do anything with in a reasonable time period.
Okay, so do we want to table this until next month? And then just check in with Ron, see if it was something that he would would like to be doing.
Okay, I'll add it on the next agenda then.
Yep. That sounds
Okay.
like that's the approach.
That's fine.
Great, thanks. Okay, the next item is the bank signature cards. So we have to update our signature cards with Fulton Bank. We do these, I believe, annually. Is that correct, Heather?
Actually, we only worry about it when we have new board members coming and going. And
Okay, got
because this one probably got held off a little too long, but I was hoping we could have it done one time once we have 5 members again.
Wonderful. So everybody needs to sign the cards that that Heather has for us, and then we have to approve it. Is that right? Am I
Yeah.
reading that right?
Yes, the bank wants a copy of our minutes basically showing that it was approved by the actual board that the updating. of the
Okay,
cards.
great.
That's it.
Awesome. So we need a motion to approve the sheet once, I guess,
The updating of
as
the
it's
card- of the
as it's full of all of its signatures, right? As it's updated. Okay.
So moved.
Thank you, Heather. So do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
It's a motion by Chris.
Okay. Are you not speaking, Chris?
No, he just. I think it
just
just.
did it.
Motion.
Yeah, he just did it. I think it just came through because the mic's. a bit-
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Got
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Heather, do you need to, I know I handled separately since I can't be there in person. Did you need to handle with Ally offline coming and signing the card for you?
I will. I had sent her an email about it, so we'll make arrangements.
Okay,
We'll
great.
make arrangements with
Yep.
Mr. Heckman as well to come in and sign off.
Yep.
Awesome. And then, I guess we're voting. Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thanks, signature cards pass. All right, so now we have our annual meeting. This is the election of officers, and at this point, I turn it over to Solicitor Riskin to do this part. So go ahead.
Okay, so the present officers are, chairperson is Tracy Uskovich, vice chairman and treasurer is open now because Earl Bethel is not on the board anymore. Secretary was Heather, assistant secretary was Tracy Samuelson, assistant treasurer Christopher Spadoni, and then assistant secretary and assistant treasurer was Ronald Heckman. So I take nominations from the floor if somebody wants to make a motion for a whole slate or wants to do it individually, but you have to shove somebody in vice chairman and treasurer.
Showman.
So how we got,
I would make the motion to reaffirm the current slate.
You have a vacancy. Vice chairman.
okay, then who are we gonna get for vice chairman and treasurer? 'Cause Earl Bethel's no longer with us. I mean, on the board.
Tracy,
No,
come on.
you've been here longer than me. You,
You could split it up.
No.
I'm contra Trump. I want DEI.
Oh,
what?
yeah.
Tracy, I'm comfortable continuing chairpersonship. So, I don't really think there's a whole lot you have to do unless there's something I can't make. So, I don't know if that helps you. You would like to be vice chair.
Yeah, Tracy's always here.
That's great qualifications. So,
Yeah.
it's like, why did Chris want it?
You just need a backup.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then you're treasurer and all you have to do is sign things if
I'm not bumping up to chair.
nobody's here.
And the signing, I always try to make sure everything's here. It's
right.
only when
I
we
won't
don't
have to
meet
do
if
it.
I have stuff.
Right,
So
right.
it's,
So why do I
it's
have to
more
show
the
up to City
exception.
Hall?
That's right. It's here. Yeah. Mhm.
So, okay, so can I assume that the slate is the same as last year, except Tracy Samuelson will be vice chair and treasurer?
But then somebody has to be that assistant secretary.
Assistant- Well, how about Ally
Maybe Ally would do
McDaniels?
that, yeah.
Assistant secretary, is that?
Mhm.
Okay, so do I hear a first and a second for that?
You do. I so moved.
Is there a second somewhere?
Second.
Okay, so nominations are closed, I'm assuming. So vote all in favor of the slate as indicated. Say aye.
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 All opposed, say nothing. Okay, all right. There. Congratulations to the new office holders and the old office holders. And I'll turn it back to Tracy.
Okay, so the next item is to reappoint our solicitor. So I need a motion to reappoint Mr. Riskin as our solicitor.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Everybody wants-
Awesome. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Mr. Riskin, for serving us one more year. Okay, reaffirm our meeting date and time. I believe this is the fourth Thursday of the month from now until October, and then we're gonna do it the third Thursday for November and December to accommodate the holidays and make sure that we still have space for a meeting if we need one. Is that correct, Mr. Riskin?
I advertised it so November and December, it's the third Thursday.
Third Thursday, right.
If we don't need it,
Cancel.
Yep. Perfect. So we just need to reaffirm that. So, do I need a motion for this, Heather? Like, are we voting on that?
That's up to Michael. Do you want-
just do a motion and I don't think you need it, but because you can
Have
change
it
it. You
anyway.
can, we can always change it.
Mhm.
Do a motion.
Well, if we don't need a motion, then we just acknowledge it and move on, I guess, because it doesn't. I mean, we already kind of did it, right? So. Or do you guys, do you really want, should we do a motion?
Make a motion.
Doesn't
I
matter.
did. I said
Chris
so moved
already
3
made a
times.
motion. Who's the second?
Chris made
Okay.
the motion.
Second.
Second from Tracy.
There we go.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we have our schedule. Wonderful. Do we have any discussion today? None?
None.
Okay. Do we have a thank you, everybody, for bearing with me. I think there's a little bit of delay with some of the connection issues here. Apologies for my end on that. And thank you for allowing me to join virtually. And so do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. I'm making a lot of motions.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next month.
We don't need a motion.
Okay,
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
You don't need a motion to adjourn.
Bye.
The chairperson said, we're done. I'm too old.